Chag Sameach. Rabbi Chia opened his discourse with this verse. And you shall count for yourselves 7 complete weeks from the day following the Shabbat. Shabbat here referring to the Pesach holiday. Remember when we counted the Omer during COVID? The Torah emphasizes that you shall count for yourselves. Counting is important. We learned this last Shabbat when we were in the middle of our census. The number 7 itself has a lot of significance for us. You guys know this. The 7 days of creation, 7 equaling Tov, goodness, as when we say Siman Tov or Mazal Tov. And here with the 7 weeks, we have counted from Passover to Shavuot, culminating at this time with the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai. This is the one time that God speaks with us directly, not through Moses. And it's essentially extremely overwhelming, which is it's too much for us. Amidst the peals of thunder and lightning, the message is received and the Torah is given. We become bound to God as Am Yisrael as we take on the covenant and the charge of being keepers of the book. However, as with any good book, and I know a lot of you are good readers and you're in book clubs, as with any good book of teaching, it's not enough to just read the pages or scan the book or the cliff notes. We must access its message. We must process its teaching and manifest that lessons that are learned to affect a change in our behavior and in our ways of relating. The amazing thing about it all is that it actually begins and ends with speech, the Torah. God spoke, Vayidaber Adonai, and the world came into being. God ultimately conveys the entire Torah, oral and written, its teachings to Moses, who then translates it, speaks to us about it, shares it with us, tries to teach it to us. So God spoke, the world came into being, Moses speaks, and then at the end of this amazing 5-book collection, Moses then recounts all of the lessons and the teachings and the experiences that we've had in one of the greatest passages and Torah portions of all time, Ha'azino, which actually means listen. Someone speaks, someone hopefully listens, not only listens, but hears and processes and carries the lesson forward. Shavuot was a harvesting pilgrimage festival when we journeyed to offer up the very best that we had. And in a sense, it's no different today than it was then. We come to offer ourselves up, to recommit and realign ourselves with the commitment that the covenant of Torah and the commandments require. Traditionally, at this time, the book of Ruth is read. The first and greatest convert shows us that wherever you will go, I will go. She says this to Naomi, her mother-in-law, wherever you will go, I will go. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. Entreat me not to leave thee. This was actually my bat mitzvah portion. I had this at Shavuot. And so it is with us. In these troubled times, it actually says a lot that people still choose to become Jews, and they honor us with their commitment and their devotion. It also says a lot that all of you are here today and every day, sharing Shabbat, social gatherings, and unabashedly exercising your Judaism within community. It is not surprising that some of the most devoted donors and volunteers who support our synagogues are those who have converted. Our temple was built and is actually sustained by some of these individuals, and we are blessed to have them as temple family. At Shavuot, we are meant to acknowledge and be reminded that even if Judaism is something one is born into, it is always running through our DNA. Even if one is married to someone that is Jewish, and this is why I do interfaith weddings, It's there. You chose it. You chose to be a part of this life in this community and to possibly raise your children that way. In a sense, you just can't escape that DNA or that moment of the mountain, because it is said we were all together before and we find our way to be together again. Our souls know who we are. Our souls know where we belong. It is our magical mystery tour to unfold the journey and be the best that we can be. Our Torah is the roadmap to get us there. And Shavuot is the joyous reminder that deliverance from slavery was not enough. Redemption is as much in our hands as God's, and the revelation given at Mount Sinai was the key to unlock the process. Along with the gift of Torah and free will, we were given the power of free speech to manifest the world that we walk within, beyachad, together. Sadly, at this time, as in centuries past, we have used words to hurt rather than heal, to harm rather than to lift up. How many of you have come across somebody who maybe is a little sarcastic? Or it's kind of a Jewish condition sometimes, or maybe a little contentious, or maybe someone's just kind of making a joke, but sometimes someone is on the end of that joke, and does it feel very good? And so I sometimes think when we're all watching these programs where all these comedians are doing their monologues, it's still a human being, regardless of who they are or what they may or may have not done. But that energy that's being put out about that person, even if it is a joke, is damaging, not only to the person, but to the listener and to our country. I don't know if any of you, when you've been in other countries, but we've been in other countries, and we've actually had people say, can't you guys get a handle on your country? Because you affect us all. And so our words matter. This service falls between Torah portions which deal with counting, blessing, and the power of words and healing. Last Shabbat, we just had Bamidbar. Those of you that were here, the beginning of a new book, those of you that watched online, and where we were all counted. A census was taken, not only by census, but by tribe, by purpose. Each one of us had a mission and a duty of service to uphold. This coming Shabbat is Parsha Naso, where we get the Birkat Kohanim, the priestly benediction that we do every Shabbat. And after that, the Halotacha, where Miriam speaks slander, gets a skin affliction, is removed from the camp, and then healed through the power of prayer and the heartfelt words spoken by her brother Moses. We count. We are blessed. And we affect our world through speech. Speech that can either destroy or heal. My daughter Alyssa, who many of you know is a rabbinite and co-clergy at a modern Orthodox shul in New Jersey, is doing a teaching tonight about the power of speech in her Shavuot drasha, which I'll share a little piece of. A teaching of the Besht on a pasuk from Shir Hashirim. See how she speaks to her people? Much different. This is what the Besht said. My soul went out when he spoke. This means that part of the soul, or the speaker, goes out at the time of speaking. The Warsaw Ghetto Rebbe, Eish Kodesh, uses this teaching of the Besh to explain a spiritual exchange that happens whenever we speak with each other. Really think about this. There must be some reciprocity between the essential soul of the speaker and that of the listener, because it is not just speech that is issuing from the mouth of the speaker, but also a part of the essence of his soul. We know that the world was created with words, by Deber Adonai, remember we said this, and that speech has mitzvot attached to it. We can create or destroy with words, as expounded in Hilchot Lashon Hara. We all love those things that have to do with Lashon Hara. But have we really thought about speech being an act of giving a piece of ourselves to the listener. And in this framework, is there also the capacity to take away a part of the self as well? Alyssa then went on to speak of the writings of S.I. Hayakawa, a Canadian-born American academic and a politician of Japanese ancestry, who popularized Alfred Korzybski's general semantics, which argued that human knowledge of the world is limited by both the human nervous system and the languages humans have developed. Hayakawa offers an image of conversation as a ladder. Each person adds to the ladder and builds rung after rung of connection. In this way, we are constantly giving and receiving when in conversation with each other, whether we are using words, gestures, or even simple sounds. Fascinatingly, he devotes a chapter of his book to the word Jew. In one example, he explains how medieval Christendom only allowed non-Christians to work as moneylenders. Jews couldn't be farmers as they couldn't own land, and they also couldn't join craft guilds. So medieval Jews found themselves relegated to a select group of professions, including working as moneylenders, among other marginal business fields. As such, it was common practice for Jews to lend money to Christians. So he writes, many princes and noblemen who owed large sums of money to Jewish moneylenders made the happy discovery that it was easy to avoid the payment of their debts by arousing the superstitious populace to torturing and massacring the Jews on the pretext of crusades against the infidel. After such incidents, the Jews would be either dead or willing to cancel the debts owed them in order to save their lives and their families. Such business risks would further increase the interest rates, and then the increased interest rates would further infuriate the Christians. The word Jew, therefore, came to have increasingly powerful, effective connotations, expressing at once the terror felt by the Christians toward non-Christians and the resentment felt by people everywhere toward moneylenders, who are almost always felt to be grasping, unscrupulous, and cunning. Have you ever heard this thrown out about the Jews? This is where it comes from. Did you know this? The effective connotations of the word Jew survived and have remained, even to this day, to connect Jews in the minds of illiterate and semi-illiterate with the evils of the economic occupations. This is one of the many examples that Hayakawa gives as to how words are used to socially connect or reject, and how they impact society, including propagating timeless evils like anti-Semitism. Then Alyssa adds, the rise of anti-Semitic rhetoric over the past 8 months in America and around the world has been jarring, to say the least. And Hayakawa's insights here speak to how words carry meaning intergenerationally with emotional responses that can be reignited without reason or warning. We are living in a real time. What Hayakawa says bluntly, the habit of blaming Jews will not quickly die out. So now I say to this, at this time of Shavuot, at this moment, it is more critical than ever to be mindful of our words, especially when we're with other people and they're talking. Even if people are being anti-Semitic, how we react matters. How we treat one another and the power that we have to manifest good or evil in our lives matters. It is critical to be mindfully aware of when someone is spouting words that hurt versus words that heal. And it could simply just be a joke. We cannot control the world, but we can control ourselves. Shavuot is a reminder that the guidebook was given to help us navigate troubled times long ago and troubled current times. It is a living book. God is always with us. The ladder of speech is there, like the ladder that Jacob climbed to wrestle with the angel to become Yisrael, and eventually for all of us to become Yisrael, the nation, the people of God, of Israel. We have the power of choice, we have the power of free will, and we have the power of speech. We can choose to not let the naysayers of our generation destroy us with their rhetoric of poison. We have the free will to live our lives proudly as Jews, to engage in and propagate the living legacy that is Torah, given to us all those thousands of years ago on this day. We have the power of free speech to use our God-given intelligence to effect a change in our encounters and amidst some of the ignorance in our world. Through the dialogue of our souls, to use the exchange between the speaker and the listener. By being mindful of the energy we create, we can make a difference. Let us take the purity and the power of this holiday, the love and the camaraderie and the community that we have shared tonight, and be like Ruth and the convert, devoted, unabashedly, wholeheartedly generous, with a commitment to everything that is Torah, the gift that we have been given on this day, Emet, and the love that we can experience when walking in the light of Adonai. Ken Yehiratzon, may it be God's will. Chag Shavuot Sameach.